TES really struggled to generate early leads.
Seraphine's up. Seraphine was the trade here for Ambessa ban, so it's either going to be Lucian or her. It's going to be Nocturne. Please, Top Esports, do not click on the Lucian champion. Just take the Seraphine. We're going to take Ashe instead. You can still play a couple of different lanes if BLG really feel like they want to split this up, but if you know that they're going to be picking Ashe, just pick champions that are going to be tanky. Her DPS is not incredibly high, and again, a lot of her power budget is put into her utility. So I want to see something that we've been waiting for and just maybe have more options or more information thanks to the Hawkshot.
Ooh, all right. We're splitting up the duo, though. The Seraphine going to be picked here by BLG, and it looks like it's going to be, Ashe Lulu now as the trade.
Yeah, Lulu has been the standard go-to when Seraphine is kind of taken away as that other pick. What is really intriguing to me about this right now is what exactly do BLG want to do, because I think hyper carry is very possible for Viper. We have already seen his ability to close out games, and if you are giving over a lot of this lane pressure early, then you can actually use a Senna really efficiently, and that's going to be the lock-in here. Viper playing Senna. It's Senna, Seraphine, Sion into, right now, an Ashe AD carry.
Wow. Okay. All right. They got to make up a lot of damage somewhere else here. If you're Top Esports.
Yeah, that's where I'm a little bit like a kind of. I love the Senna Seraphine. It's really sturdy if you can just make it through like the first like 3 levels. But after that, the thing that I'm kind of going against here for BLG is not only do you have a lower overall damage coming in. I think that Ashe Wukong makes Senna's life living hell, even if you have this support on your side. So going into the second phase of draft, I need to see what the solo laners of Top Esports are going to be, and obviously for BLG, what are you going to index into? I'm actually quite surprised that it is going to be an Akali ban on their side. I almost feel like BLG would want something that's going to dive into the backline and make both Lulu and Ashe uncomfortable.
There are multiple junglers up that I think could be very dangerous on the pick here for BLG. Xin Zhao is going to be banned away. That was kind of the main one that I was looking towards, but it's certainly not just Xin Zhao. This is very much a, potential, Poppy angle. You get a little scary there. It's shown in Game 3 has been popping off. I don't want to speak the Nidalee into existence, but it would exactly be the scariest. It would be a pretty good Nidalee game if you wanted to go for something like that. So definitely some options. We know Knight can take over on basically anything. Banning out the Akali tells me he wants to go control mage, and it will be that Victor.
Again, I love this pick because it fits the identity of BLG have made a disgusting scaling death ball. A bit of a switch up, though, from what we've seen them go for so far this series, nonetheless.
Get in second phase. You just need high damage mid laners, and there's not a ton left. If you're going to be playing into Victor, I'm looking at what we have seen. You can try to play the Hui. I think Hui is nice. Olaf to Rampage in the backline, okay. I mean, Top Esports, this is kind of all the eggs are now in this basket. We are running at our opponents. We're setting them up. We're allowing Hui to not only be long-range poke, but also kind of a soft enchanter for the rest of his team. I like the prospects here. Shouldn't you get counterpick, buddy? What's your pick? Are we going for Nidalee, or are we going to try something new? You got a lot of house money you can play with.
Oh, please. Oh, I don't want to get baited too much. I would love Kindred. That would be an unbelievable pick here. Obviously, should a big Kindred player. Pantheon was the other big pick that is still available in terms of that early game pressure. It is going to be the Panth. I know you guys are disappointed, but I quite like Pantheon in the draft that they've composed for themselves. It gives them at least a little bit of action. You were selling me on the Kindred pick, man. I know. Well, hey, if it was Kindred or Nidalee, I'd be popping off into oblivion right now. But at the bare minimum, I think Pantheon gives them some early game aggression. And quite frankly, with the amount of range that they have, Pantheon actually has a lot of different ways to full send it. I think this Victor is going to be a key priority in this game.
A lot of pressure, though, nonetheless, on Creme to bring home so much of this composition's damage. Soak it in, everyone. This could be our final draft of Split 2. And regardless of how the series has gone so far, gentlemen, it'll definitely be, maybe I'll cast or curse it, but the way BLG have drafted, I think we're in for a much different game than our first two again. Potentially a much slower one if BLG are going to really bring the tempo down to allow for Viper, really everybody but Pantheon, scale up in this composition.
If BLG stumble, they're going to lose this game. You just have Ashe, you have the Olaf as well. I think it's really tough for them to break this. Similarly, if Pantheon loses his lead ever, you just don't have the damage to really match, and you won't have the ability to make plays versus a Lulu later on in the game. So BLG need to win early. They need to be able to find ways of opening up leads with this Pantheon, with this Victor. Otherwise, I think it doesn't matter if you have scaling if you don't get to play.
BLG top esports onto the Rift again for maybe the final time. Gyos were there, but they are once again interrupted by a madman with a couple of axes and a death wish into Sion. Shun going to re-engage into Tian there with Knight nearby. So a lot more poke damage coming down. Neither jungler is going to see their clear path warded, but it's a mutual understanding that Shun and Tian. All right, as I say that, just going to be a ward. So going to spot that Shun is onto his blue buff. So a bit of information gained there for Tian.
All right, so I mean, I think this is slightly favored towards BLG. Wukong, not the fastest clear, especially in the first couple of minutes. So I will be interested to see if maybe after the top side clear, we just see Tian decide he's going to take a recall, get himself a long sword, go back on bottom side, and then just try to meet Tian on the bottom side of the river here. But maybe he's saying, I have Senna Seraphine. If I don't have priority, I think my bot lane has done something pretty normal. I think that's completely normal for this kind of draft.
Definitely would be normal as we get a little bit of an exchange. Should just be a trade of summoners, as predictably the Senna Seraphine are much weaker at level 1. Who would have guessed? Obviously, JackeyLove, Fengyue not exactly had the chance to really go wild in this series up until this point. Ashe being the priority pick, the preferred pick here for TES over the Seraphine definitely shows me that they want that early pressure and that they do want to utilize those playmaking tools, but gonna need to see that priority actually come out. Both of these junglers should be pathing towards the bot side. Shun on a ward.
Yeah, he's gonna cross over. I think this is just to try to force Creme's flash out. He's not going to get the cannon minion. I think that's probably the most depressing part about all of this.
Yep, there it is. Minus one.
Yep. This, gentlemen, we didn't touch on it too much from draft with all the things that were kind of colliding at the same time. And this is two supports that are not going to roam. These are not two supports that are looking into kind of open up the rest of the map. I think this is probably the best shot that we have for our top esports to take a game here in this series. And it comes with two supports that are going to be sitting right next to their AD carries for the most part.
Well, as you say that, Fengyue abandons his AD carry to back up his jungler. Tian looking to steal away this red buff, and Will with the smite takes a decent amount of harass there from Owen. But hey, listen, guys, we didn't fight all out over red buff in an early game, so we're starting to break that mold a bit here.
I think it's a really good invade for Tian. Getting any sort of early lead in terms of experience on this Pantheon, or at least staying neutral, I think is really important for Wukong in this matchup, just to make sure that that Grand Starfall doesn't come down before you have the chance to be able to try and make a counterplay. Get a bit of a replay here. Oh. Flash over the wall.
Oh.
The proxy wave, a little bit of Olaf Gaming coming in from Zuian.
So he's doing it because look at where the minion wave is now. The minion wave is on his side of the wave. It's going to be hitting his turret. It's going to crash in front of him. And he knows if Pantheon comes top lane, he's kind of screwed if he doesn't have his ultimate. So it looks funky, and top East or BLG have no idea that he lost his flash there.
Zero.
So they're going to be operating with the information that that's still available for him.
I kind of like it. It's like a covert op. Nice fear there from Creme to make sure that Shun does not land the Pantheon stun. So Creme started getting his back on the Hui. And we talked endlessly about how vital he needs to be on this pick, and really just how vital it is that he steps up in this series. By far been one of the quiet members up against Knight, as many mid laners are, and well, it's not going to get easier now. He doesn't have a flash.
Is that the most quintessential Creme play of all time? He perfectly executes a fear into the ganking Pantheon and then immediately oversteps and has to burn his flash. It's just everything that we know about Creme when he's on these control mages in the mid lane, and he's going to need to be big here today. You know, I know we definitely are favoring the top esports draft. I think this Olaf and Ashe are going to be problems, but I think the Victor is in an okay spot to be enabled if you do want to play around that lane, especially now with no flash on the way. You do hit that level 6. Could actually see some pressure be put into the mid lane here from Shun over and over again.
Especially once those ultimates come online. Finally, you know, we talked about how we have supports with a different vibe, right? They're going to stick towards their AD carries, play a bit more for the 2v2. Also, our first game where I feel like both of our junglers are saying, hey, listen, we both need our ults bad to create a lot of plays here. Maybe a little bit less for Shun, but it hasn't paid off. Definitely for Tian. So these full clears are going to be very important. Both are going to be cruising towards the level 6s as On is going for a double beat drop, the rare Seraphine roam, and Creme kind of just walks out of it.
The timer, yeah. You know, you gotta make the roam mid once the dragon spawns. He might not be on a roaming champion, but he at least has to keep some things in check. Creme generally continuing to get pushed out. Look at the vision coverage already on the map here. It's going to be very in favor of top esports around this dragon. It's going to be really important for BLG to redeploy on this map with the Pantheon, try to hit that level 5 as quickly as possible, and get in this area if they want any chance of contesting this.
Tian onto the dragon. Gonna use that bot lane priority to try and get that Drake stacking. Right foot forward. Have seen this from top esports already in this series, but BLG are looking to contest. Neither jungler has ultimate access. Tian maybe trying to get it off of this dragon if he can secure it. It's the harass from Viper over the wall, but the spike will be true. And Tian gonna get that dragon. No level 6 yet, still no Cyclone, but BLG are posturing looking for a fight. Shun's gonna flash right on top of Creme into the Graviton well. The Sprouting Despair will be blocked by Shun as he grabs himself first blood. JackeyLove with a hail arrow is gonna flash after On. Find that kill, traded back. Viper just does not have enough juice to make a smoothie out of top esports. It's gotta be Knight swinging over, but JackeyLove is standing up tall. He's got the lethal tempo, and he is not backing down. Viper gonna have to run away from Fengyue to be the only one to survive in the river for BLG. Top esports have won a skirmish. And Zuian might want in on this action as well. He's popped the ghost. But it might be Bin's decimating smash. Oh no, he's looking for the turn here. Soul Furnace not available, and Zuian still likes the Olaf healing. There's no mana. Bin just used on that decimating smash. Oh my god, Zuian is walking on a wire here. He's just 2 autos away from death. He's going to get the shield and finally limp out.
Okay, all right. So all in all, very big win here for top esports. We have the Ashe Lulu, who is for sure going to win this matchup in the 2v2, and then an extended 3-on-3 turns into a 4-on-4, and hey, you oh my god, Viper!
Dawning Shadow, baby.
Okay, I think Zuian's out of this game for right now, but hey, look, we got the kills. We got 2 kills on JackeyLove. That's the most important part.
Honestly, I don't think it's that bad for BLG. I think getting the kill onto Shun before you hit that Grand Starfall and continuing to look at Creme, not having a flash. Tian's on the top side. He's going to be looking for a play onto the Scion. Can he back in time?
Bin was trying to go for the classic mental warfare back under the turret. Oh, Tian doesn't get over that wall with the Trickster.
It's
I don't
just
know if
out.
he gets close enough. Yep, and Bin's just going to he's going to walk the long way back around. And now he's going to back on a ward. Does Tian want to go for it now? JackeyLove, arrow is up. Bin, can he flash it in time? Nope, he's going to take it straight to the face into the Cyclone from Tian. And Bin in a world of hurt here, second cast up. Bin is going to, oh, he went for the flash. He tried to go for the brush trick, but he should have known he was on a ward. He got sniped by the arrow.
They just thought it was blind at that point. Thank you, six-pack.
Oh my god, this series has been so entertaining, and it leads to a grub take here from top esports. That top side play is really important for TES to make. I didn't feel like the game was all that favored one way or the other. I know, obviously, mid lane, here we go.
Creme, the Grand Starfall landed right where he was standing. Spiral Despair slow, not enough to get the turret to find that trade kill. It's a gifted kill tonight, courtesy of his jungler.
This is exactly what I'm talking about with the Pantheon. You can't be looking anywhere else with these ultimates. You need to start enabling the Victor, and especially Creme. With that flash still on cooldown, just barely, you definitely want to be making plays there. They have to trade a ton across the map, but they are getting gold into the right spots. This Olaf is down 700 gold, and Knight is starting to get a little bit of a lead. That is really important for this team going into the mid-game.
Very integral indeed. So we do get, you know, to take stock of everything we're at here. Viper, of course, on a stacking champion. Still has yet to get over to that 20th stack mark. So this is actually, I know it's been a bit since we've had the Senna stacking convos, but this is definitely behind pace and a product, again, of the Ashe Lulu just making life hell for a scaling AD carry.
It's also a statement, by the way, to take Senna versus JackeyLove. Like, JackeyLove is a world-renowned Senna player, and to take it against him, you're gonna have to perform here up against top esports. And maybe it doesn't feel like that with how the momentum of the series has turned out. Should be fine.
The Ashe arrow.
Should be fine.
Oh, gets the double tap snare, but JackeyLove is unrelenting. On is so close to dying, and Fengyue will find that kill nonetheless. It's still JackeyLove and Fengyue having their way with the BLG bot lane.
I don't know what happened. Was the body block not there for some of the Qs coming in from the Lulu? It was too much damage coming down way too fast onto the Seraphine, overstepping from On. Really did feel like he had the healing to be able to survive the Q not up in time. That is a massive mistake. The more gold that goes over to JackeyLove, the harder this game becomes. That is the one area of the map you cannot continue to bleed resources on, and BLG making that mistake consistently.
And these are right before the dragon is going to spawn. It's a minute in ahead, and now we're 20 seconds right before it spawns. And there's still a lot missing here. I mean, Viper pretty far behind in my mind and is going for the static Shiv rush on the Senna, which to me just feels really piss poor. Like, you're going to have an Aether Wisp on your build doing nothing here for this champion versus a completed Hex Optics already for this Ashe. Not to mention, by the way, Trinity Force on Wukong. You're going to be really, really abusive in these fights. BLG have no way of trying to fight this. I like the adaptation. Go topside, try to hunt for 300, and maybe even get some plates thanks to the Crystalline Overgrowth.
Yep, there's the unstoppable onslaught, forces out the Ragnarok, but all your damage resistance is shredded, and Knight with the Arcane Storm will pick up that kill. Bot side going swimmingly for top esports, but it's Viper at it again, up 700 gold already.
Both teams correctly identifying what they need to do. TP coming back into the mid lane.
Panta's ult. Panta's ult.
Yeah, they can go for this.
Creme. Let's see if Shun pulls the trigger. He's going to walk his way down. He actually doesn't even commit the ult here. Tian's there to cover, and that will protect Creme from any more 2v1 shenanigans.
I really, really would have liked an aggressive play in the mid lane there. Again, I know I've been very insistent on this, but Knight is absolutely the win condition for Bilibili Gaming at this point, as he almost always is with the way that they play these comps. But the Victor is going to be the place that you need to get that gold through. I think at some point you have to feel the pressure to start getting more and more gold on top of that. The top play was really nice to trade. You're going down in Dragons, but Victor's going to be strong in those fights around those neutral objectives. You just can't let this Wukong get out of control now that Creme has completed that first item and has a lot more combat power to fight back.
Have to see. Oh, yeah, good call. Oh!
Maybe
Knight is going to sidestep that one.
Oh, no!
Oh, boy. just walked right into that. Safe to say you walked right into that joke, Hulk. I don't know.
Yeah. I didn't do that. I'm still fine. Maybe I did get stunned. I'll be honest. I was stunned. But not as badly as Viper did. Here we go.
Here we go. Topside again.
Yep. Gonna go after the Ragnarok-led Olaf. Gets a big shield to buy some time, but it's the Scion taking up the turn. Oh! This flash Q from Shun does not get that kill. Why is Fengyue this far up? And now he's got a flash. All right, we're getting a little messy here in this grand finals. Oh my God, Tian's gonna flash after. Oh! He gets the knockup with the Cyclone, so Shun goes down. Fengyue gonna have to self-ult here. His own has no chance up against JackeyLove. It's Viper that's here now for the 2v2. Knight and Viper. Can they bring this home? Can they stop JackeyLove? This guy is just a titan on a warpath, and he will gift the shutdown over to Viper. Get some quality gold. Fengyue slowed up. He's out.
What is my AD carry doing? Bro is like, yeah, I'm stronger than Victor. I'm stronger than Rocket Bell Victor. I can walk up and just start auto attacking him. This is the craziest series I have seen, man. We get a replay of the ult on top side here from the Pantheon. It's the knockup. Bin tanks this turn absolutely forever, and it feels like this should be completely free with the damage coming in from the Pantheon, even the ult coming down from the Senna. But the shield is just barely enough, and Shun does not time these Qs well. Yeah, he just misses. He flashes into, ends up missing that final Q as well. It's really misplayed, and at this point, Tian has a pretty easy cleanup job. Shun just takes a bad path, ends up not having that flash available to get out of here, and gets the free kill. Whatever happened on the bot side here is insane. Bin on the top side here, just trying to TP out. Yeah, that didn't work out. Luckily for you all, yeah, we're not getting that replay.
He TP'd, by the way, and before that, they would have gotten the kill on Zuian if he held his Q a little bit longer. But you mentioned he's tanking turret for too long. It's way too warmed up. He backs away. They don't get that kill, and turns into a 2 for Tian here. So they have 2 dragons. Very big mistake, obviously, there for JackeyLove, who loses his barrier before then. But now we're still walking into a fight, whether this is going to be for Herald or for the dragon in a minute and a half, where I think for top esports, you're still looking to be in a really strong position. Even with all the attention we sent towards Creme, he's not all that far behind right now. And really, it's just the gills that Knight has that is making up for the difference.
Knight, though, just a different animal, of course, when it comes to LPL and it comes to the titles. Just want to remind everybody at home what this would mean for Knight if BLG can get this game win, as he's chasing his 8th LPL title with a win here. What a player. One of the best, currently one of the best in the world, of course, alongside his top laner, who is now hunting down Zuian. Just make Smash, forces the Ragnarok out, so the Olaf will not have that key ultimate for a Rift Herald fight. Tian, though, going after Owen. Wow, what a Mikhail's. Able to just shrug off that Ash Arrow. So those are 2 big ults for top esports now on cooldown.
It'll be up before this next dragon. And it seems like instead we're playing for Herald at this point. If we can force Knight's TP, I think that's a very big win for top esports.
And that's exactly what they get.
Unless Ben is Ben, where are we walking, brother? All right, let's see how much damage JackeyLove has, I guess. Let's walk towards my Seraphine, my Senna with all these shields. It's not gonna be enough. Zuian finds the kill. Ben can't make the long trek around. Tian gonna secure the Rift Herald. Spawn to spay down to slow up Shun. And they chase down the rest of this death ball. Top esports are looking to go forward. Knight been found by Zuian, but remember, he does not have that Ragnarok up. Instead, he's getting zapped down by the Arcane Storm. Knight gonna push top esports off of him as the Herald has been summoned there from Tian. Top esports are trying to waltz their way all the way down to a dragon take, but they're getting poked out bad. Double tap lands on a JackeyLove, has to flash away from a snare out of Viper.
This fight is really on a razor's edge because there is a lot of damage that is coming out from BLG, but it takes a lot of time to get there. TES are just better at setting up around these objectives. Once again, it's BLG getting caught, not with the proper setups around these things that they need to fight for. They can't sit here and just kind of play in and out. You have to make a decision. BLG running into the same issues they did throughout a lot of the playoffs, where it feels like they're getting caught in no man's land. TES setting up for a potential death push. If Shun dies here, that is a massive problem.
Gonna clear out the last wards. This will be Soul Point at 17.5 minutes here for top esports on the Infernal Soul. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Go after Bin again. Gets polymorphed, eats the Ash Arrow. Severing Bolt down. Bin much better off this time round. 50% HP. Tian onto the Dragon. This BLG have to walk their way back into this river, but this is the death ball they drafted for. This is the death ball they believe could bring them the championship. Can it get them? This Infernal Drake, it's coming down to a 50-50 that Shun will win. Dragon secured. Unstoppable Onslaught out to pull away. The Sprouting Despair. Viper does have to flash away from Tian, but BLG get out unscathed and shut down a huge win con of top esports'.
They're just going mid. I mean, they're still hitting. Bin just
on.
Wave on.
Cyclone down. Tian second charge, not gonna find any knockup. It's on, that's the flash. Now Shun flashing forward after Creme. Mikhail's immediately comes down. Creme should be fine. Severing Bolt doesn't have enough damage to get rid of Shun just yet. He's got a Seraphine to top him off. So BLG are going to get the mid-tier 1 as well.
BLG get absolutely paid for this fight. Top esports, JackeyLove flashing out in mid lane means that they can't walk into this fight. There's no kind of answers or conditions for TES to walk forward. Big win for BLG, now keeps the gold within touching distance of their opponents.
This Victor is a problem to deal with.
Yes.
It is incredibly hard to set up around these objectives. This is exactly what BLG need to play for. We get a replay of this fight. It is just a flip. They turn this into a 50-50 because they don't have the tools to exactly take it, and Shun's just a little bit more clinical in those flips. So much of the damage has already been put down, by the way, onto the Scion in this fight that it's really easy for BLG to just walk away. The positioning from Knight is so aggro that JackeyLove and Zuian, they can't step up. The Olaf and the Ashe that we talked about being so important, there's no way for them to get into any of these fights. Once Tian burns that ultimate, Shun feels more than encouraged to be able to fly his way forward because Creme has no way of going backwards. It's just so tough for TES to play this if they burn their cooldowns.
See, my calibration was wrong. When Bin took all of those spells at the Herald fight, I thought he was fine. He dies there. But this time, I was like, oh, well, they tried to put all the damage into Scion this time, and he has the TP shield. Turns out he's fine. So I was just a little bit miscalibrated, but I think my point still stands is that, like you had just mentioned there, Kman, as long as Scion just tanks all of these spells and Victor is completely fine, you now have a 2-item Senna and a Seraphine with Mikhail's. You are really hard-pressed to find the damage that's going to punch through. Gold is now even. The Dragon as well, very important for BLG to stall this game out with an Infernal Soul on the line.
It is, and this is exactly what we were worried about, that Top Esports was going to have to show they could finally do this heavy lifting in the early game. And it looked good for a bit, but now this game state just feels really crushing to try and play out. This death ball comp is, like you guys were talking about, virtually almost online, and Viper is only getting more range the further he gets into his build path.
And also, a big problem is that this Olaf is not getting online. That is one of the few tools that TES are going to have in the back end of this game to neutralize that, and it's not happening. We see another exchange here, Shun.
Okay, Tian walks into a beat drop snare. Shun, though, gonna get the Mikhails, get the Ash Arrow off him from JackeyLove, who walks up pretty far. It's been coming down as that big health bar with a huge 30% shield. He's going the unstoppable onslaught. He's got JackeyLove. The Encore is going to clip JackeyLove. He gets the Mikhails. Following Despair, though, down onto Viper. Pushes the Senna out of this fight. Dawning Shadow.
Oh,
but Tian flashes after to find Knight. The Great Storm comes down, but Knight drops first. It's been with his big health bar, though, that provides just enough space for Viper and On to work their way back in. Your full take Scion just pulled a triple kill out of a hat.
Okay, what champion can Bin not play at this point? Because he's now seen the Cassante, and we've continued to see him rise to the occasion on this Bin here in the playoffs. This guy is absolutely demolishing Top Esports, and that was supposed to be a fight that they had all the conditions for. JackeyLove's flash is still not up here for this play, and now BLG up 1,500 gold. We're walking into this next fight, and I think this next dragon is so important. They finalized the kill on tonight. This is really risky from Tian. You have no vision walking into this, and while you have a Lulu behind you, not having the Trickster for this Wukong to get out of dodge or get you into trickier spots is really, really, really risky. Bin's walking forward. They tag him with this last bit, but there's just no damage. I mean, Olaf is useless. Tian tries to do something, but Ashe is gone. Creme can have range, but all of it is going into Bin. Top Esports, they need to rally behind someone else. They need to find other picks. It cannot always be going into Bin. Otherwise, we're going to continue to see the same thing, which is more of a BLG win.
This was absolutely my biggest problem with the Top Esports comp. I do really like the setups that they have, but they need gold in order to function in the back end of the game. If they don't have that massive lead, they're not better hands-wise against BLG, and they certainly don't have the comp that can just break through this healing naturally. They have to continue to play aggressive. They still have the tools to win this, but
JackeyLove
can't make a mistake.
Way too far up. He gets snared, and there's his flash gone again. The Mikhail's down as well. Bin will trade his flash back out, but that's a trade you'll happily make because he's going to flash and get a two-man encore. Tian on the off chance is trying to push Knight out of the fight. The Grab to well going to come down, but look how much healthier BLG are. They've got the shields, they've got the heals, they've got the death ball that will not be denied. Viper gets rid of Fengyue. It's Zuian that desperately tries to trade out with the Ragnarok, but he's not got enough damage. Viper's able to sink his way out of it, and Zuian goes down to Bin, who has dominated him all series long. It's Knight and Bin again to say sayonara to Top Esports.
There we go, and it just feels like nothing can go wrong. It feels like maybe the weight of the narrative has come crashing down onto TES. We were looking at maybe they could have won this game. It was their best shot from draft, but BLG, they've woken up. They have found the leads that they've needed to, and it's way too late. We thought that Viper's Senna wasn't strong enough. Well, now it's 1,500 gold. He has not died a single time here in this game number 3. JackeyLove, he gets criticized for standing too far up on mid waves. Where is my Mikhails for my support? Loses his flash, loses his life at the end of this play, and it feels like Top Esports have lost their chance at fighting back here in this best of 5.
And look at the CC synergy coming in from BLG. Obviously, the Encore lands onto 2, but it's perfectly paired into the snare coming down from the Senna as well. There's no way to make an escape pattern here when BLG are playing these fights as well as they are. The concern for us when it came to this draft for BLG was that they weren't going to have the time to get their comp online, that they weren't going to have the agency in the early game. But that doesn't matter if your players are better. Bin has taken over this game, and Knight is pumping out damage over and over again. We have scaled into Viper's win condition, and at this point, I'm staring down a 4K gold lead. I'm staring down 2 Infernal Dragons that could turn into 4 if this game goes long enough, and I'm getting very scared that we're running out of options to even be able to find picks onto the backline, even with this 1.5K gold lead for Wukong.
Scary times ahead for Top Esports, but what a series BLG have put together. This series we've seen play out so many times, even in recent history, and even if it has been all BLG, They haven't dominated top esports like this. They haven't beat down Tian and JackeyLove quite to this degree. But they're looking to do so. 4K up. Waiting for a chance to finally end this game. It feels like one more fight could decide it. And how about Baron to host that final battle?
This is such an important series, not only just, again, right, like we already have the seeding or the qualification to MSI decided. It just comes down to seeding at this point for top esports. The only LPL championship that we have seen for Creme came off the back of having not to play against Knight in Split 1 of last year. For Tian, it has been so long since we've been able to see him in a finals, and guess what? That last finals was against BLG, where he got 3-1 up against these guys.
Yep.
It's mostly the same lineup except for my top and support, but it would be a far cry for them to not only win one game, potentially reverse sweep this series at this point.
And speaking on last finals appearances, and you mentioned the rookies, despite the fact this has not been a great series with Zuian, Fengyue has had decent moments. It is important to remember that this iteration of top esports does have two guys in their first grand finals. And boy, are they starting to learn what many LPL players have learned of past in this iteration of BLG. It feels impossible to beat these guys.
I mean, Zuian played his first Tier 1 best of 5 like 3 weeks ago, and now he's in the finals of the LPL. This is such a big moment for these players. It's obviously not gone the way that they've wanted, especially on the top side throughout this series, but they were put in an incredible position. Their run to get here was ridiculously strong. BLG with the experience they got on the lower bracket, and obviously with just the natural experience that these players have. It just gives them such an advantage over top esports, and they're really showcasing that with their team fighting. It's really just been a brilliant series for BLG. I cannot stress enough, we did not see this version of this team throughout a lot of the playoffs. I'm so excited to see it now.
And I know, guys, that I've been, you know, the Viper guy for a while, and I bit my tongue because he hasn't had the biggest of moments here, but what I do want to point out, if this game state holds, is that Viper would win his third title. Guys, that would tie him with JackeyLove and Elk. That would tie him with some of the two best homegrown AD carry talents we have in the LPL. What a moment that would be for him, returning to the LPL here. So we do have a fight starting to manifest. It's on with a encore to try and tag multiple TS members, but it's Viper that's going to immediately cleanse an Ash Arrow.
It's not here.
He'll be fine.
Oh,
and they buy time for Bin. Oh my god, Bin, this
Uh-oh.
How big of a health bar does this Scion have? Shoot's gonna flash after Creme to immediately push him out of this fight, and Bin cannot be denied. He's holding 3 members of top esports at bay, and they've sectioned off Tian. He was going in, but his team can't go past Gigabin, who's now diving under the tier 2 turret into a beautiful dawning shadow. Bin sets them up, Viper knocks them down, and this could be your final push to crown BLG Split 2 champions, to crown BLG back-to-back LPL champions.
And the sun sets on top esports as BLG set up yet another empire with Knight at the helm as your emperor of the LPL. And BLG are going to look to knock top esports down.
There's the ace, Zuian down, and BLG have done it. Your Split 2 champions, Bilibili Gaming, with a very bright path ahead to MSI.
Goddamn.
What a series from Bilibili Gaming. I mean, we can talk about the pluses, the minuses, the X's, the O's. We can talk about everything that broke down. We can talk about Bin being better on the top side. We can talk about Knight popping off in terms of damage. We can talk about the bot lane stepping up, probably the most they have throughout the entire playoffs. But the reality is that this Bilibili Gaming team is ready. They are ready to continue to carry the banner of the LPL as they move forward in 2026, as well as they have at the beginning of the year. And I'm just so happy to see them with the smiles on their faces and with another championship in their cabinet.
We saw Knight, of course, getting the last piece to the trophy there from Captain JackeyLove. He will add it to the trophy, and we will see it once more. BLG lift the twin silver dragons, your Split 2 champions.
Man, so many things converging. Bin now having the most amount of trophies for any top laner. At 6 now, he now overtakes 369. Again, the poeticism there. On now has the most trophies of any support, overtaking Ming and Mako.
Wow.
Again, a very sad moment if you're a long-time LPL fan. Also to note, Coach Daney, having never won the LPL before, despite being on many legendary teams, now gets his second trophy in a row with BLG.
Look at the elation on Viper's face too, man. Kind of talked about it a little bit, but I'll mention it one more time. Viper as well. You talked about Mako and some other old heads getting passed up. JackeyLove and Elk are now on the same page as Viper. As there you have it. Coach Danny lifting his first ever Silver Dragon Trophy.
I'm just so happy for this team. I mean, the adversity that they went through in this playoff run, they were really in a rut. They were down, obviously losing to WE at the beginning of this playoff run, and they were down 2-1 in lower bracket finals too. This isn't a team that just, ran their way through the LPL. We're talking about a team that did have to pick their moments, that did have to learn and grow, that did have to overcome a lot of stuff throughout this playoff run. And the development that we've seen, we thought BLG were good at the beginning of the year. What I saw today is the kind of team that can win anything. That really, they have that kind of talent, they have that kind of ability. I just hope that they're able to carry that through, not just to MSI, but throughout the rest of the year. We talk so much about the Golden Road. Such a huge part of the Golden Road is dominating your domestic league. They won Split 1, they won Split 2. I'm just so excited to see what they can look like in Split 3.
So excited indeed. It's a great way, I'm glad you said it, Kman, a great way to go into MSI off a series win of that caliber. Quick night, but a fun one nonetheless here. BLG, their hardest competition in the entirety of the Split 2 playoffs was Team WE, and they showed why up against Top Esports with the 3-0 win. Gentlemen, that will bring our cast to a close, so any final words, final things you want to say? Alk, we'll start with you, I guess, and go back down the row before we head back to the desk.
No, I'm sorry, Kman. It couldn't have been 5 games, I guess, for your first TriCast here on the show. But this is the BLG that we saw at the end of Split 1. This was the BLG that we got excited about going into first hand. And with where everybody else is at internationally, I just hope that our LPL teams can represent us very well. BLG versus Top Esports may not have been close, but I'm expecting that this Top Esports is going to do a lot of damage over at MSI in Daejeon. Oh, also, I guess Viper's headed home. Yeah, Viper's heading back
Viper's
to
heading
hometown.
hometown.
Home.
Hometown Viper.
Hometown.
Yep.
Yeah, not just home. He is right. He's pretty close to home, and this guy's been a pretty big international winner over the past couple of months. So very excited to see what he performs like. This was, a chaotic, crazy series I am honored to have been on. And my first finals cast to my first TriCast. It was obviously a very, very fun series, but even more so, I mean, when we take a look at split number 2 here, this has got to be one of the more fun splits in LPL memory. The playoff upsets, the regular season that we saw, the overperformance and underperformance from specific teams. It just had everything. The LPL certainly is the most fun region to watch in the world, and I think they proved that over and over again.
The most fun region to watch in the world, Mr. Kman, and certainly the most fun series to cast with you two. I got my final note will be a bit sentimental. Definitely dreamed of casting series of this magnitude and would not have wanted to do with anyone else but you two beside me. So big shout out to Kman and to Alk Battery joining me on this TriCast. Folks, we now send it to our amazing desk here. Mazel, J Beto, and Quacks close out the BLG dominance.
Thank you for the cast, gentlemen. It was a quick one, but it was a sweet one. And welcome another era, another championship for BLG. Another brick in the road that looks a little bit golden. I'm Mazel. I'm joined by Jay Beto. Got Quacks here alongside us as well. And it was a 3-0. It was an absolute stomping. And it feels like BLG regained their place in the stars here, Jay Beto.
Yep. Kind of a ridiculous turnaround again. I can't say it enough about how they looked last night and how they look now in less than 24 hours difference. But this is the BLG that we've been wanting all year, and we've seen it. We saw it at first stand. We saw it in Split 1 playoffs. We've seen it in the lower bracket at times, but this was a monumental series for the solo lanes of BLG. I think going into the International, everyone has to be watching out for these two players. Shun had a really great series too. But this is becoming one of the most exciting eras in League of Legends esports history. As long as we ignore 2025 international results, BLG are on top, and they aren't getting off anytime soon.
They aren't. I think BLG, and now with this win and being the first seed, the weight is on their shoulders. This is something that we talked about with the WE series, where it felt like a different kind of pressure for both of those teams. But BLG, just because of the players and the expectations that so many fans and so many people around the world have of the performance these guys are supposed to live up to, that can be crushing sometimes. And I think we saw that yesterday. We saw none of that, though, today. They looked like a fresh team with no weight on their shoulders, and they were breezing past TES in all 3 games. So now that we start talking about the international competition and who they'll be facing off against at MSI and in Korea, is that pressure going to return, and is that going to affect them going forward? I think that really is the only question in my mind, because if they don't feel the pressure, this might be just the team to beat. They are the team to beat. They're the first stand champions. They're the guys that you need to dethrone if you want to call yourself a champion.
And if we can, Ilya, producer Ilya, if we could bring up the bracket, maybe. If we can't, totally understandable. But my God, can we just take a second to think about this run from B? I understand. As a BLG fan, I feel that WE lost in round number 1 maybe just as much as everybody else. But the rampage that they went on afterwards, the 3-0, 3-1, 3-0, 3-2 against WE again, their nightmare, into a 3-0 in the final. Like, this is one of the greatest lower bracket runs that the LPL has had, and it harkens back to that LNG miracle run that feels like forever ago. And it's a team that we expected to be at the top, but still found a way to reach that precipice nonetheless, Quacks.
It does, and I think BLG, you know, sky's the limit for them at this point. And I think in the lower bracket run, it really was about climbing back up, right? Getting through the mud that WE initially knocked you into. A lot of people were concerned about this team's late game, concerned about their macro once the lane assignments got a little bit more jumbled. But as time went on, we saw that evolve. We saw their late games get better. We saw their team fighting improve. We saw everything that was considered a weakness get to a point where it became a strength. And I feel like that has made BLG such a complete team, because they have gotten those strengths up, but they have also kept what made them so special in Split 1 and in the regular season, which is that micro, which is that fighting. And I think there is no better way than to get yourself another championship and get yourself the final win here in the playoffs than to return to a game and return to a state where that is the thing to be put on full display. It was the hands of BLG that just absolutely smacked top esports across the map.
Yep. I want to take a moment to talk a little bit about top esports, because they are also heading to MSI. Feels like the prep wasn't there tonight for top esports. The drafting, we had a lot of complaints about the draft on the desk here. I actually really liked the draft from top esports in that 3rd game. I'm a big Olaf believer. I was talking about it as the draft was going on. And while Quacks brought up some good points while we were watching the game about Zuian being outranged, I think top esports as a whole played that game really desynced with a massive lack of confidence. Zuian never really hit anybody at all. I'd be interested to see when we get into the damage graphs. I know that he's hitting a Scion, but I've watched Olaf games, no spoilers, where the Olaf goes down and just rocks up to a fight, finds a good flank, and just kills everyone no matter what. And it felt like top esports didn't really have the dots connected tonight.
And I think that's a difficult thing. And you can also factor in the newness of a couple pieces on top esports, and the fact that we hope we get to see these faces again in the longevity of their career, as well as they move forward and continue to try to carve their way forward. But also for the veterans of this team, it feels pretty bad right? I mean, we got to see this team kind of come together with Tian, JackeyLove, reinforcements coming in here in split number 2 and making it to a finals, but not really being able to live up to that. So I really, really do hope we get to see some more of that upper bracket top esports that we did see in these playoffs at MSI, but that is a long question away. Something else I want to bring up, just because I kind